You can manipulate ChatGPT to do what you want, okay? You can make a project folder, give it certain data, give it certain files, and ask it to behave in a certain way, like a creative director would. Basis that is a digital avatar creation. Basically, I can call Mantra to my studio, shoot with him for 30 minutes, and I have him for life. I'll have his voice cloned, I'll have his persona cloned, I will make sure that I use the right methods and get him to sign off, okay, morally, personality wise, because there is a sign up required. And then I will be able to repurpose that particular avatar to do real time content production at scale. Meaning you just have to type text, what is the script, and it will automatically script out. I really like their pop art background, and this is how our footage looks with that same background. Nidish is going to kill me. He's a lawyer. Thank God he's my lawyer. That's Nidish and Anuj, ladies and gentlemen. And now the beauty of this entire thing is that this is how it's shot. Who says AI can't be creative? All right. Of course, it's taking the best minds of the world, putting it all together and giving you the best possible screenplay. But AI is still a tool. Who writes it, who drives it, who prompts it is what makes a difference. Most of you guys know me as singer, musician, actor. I'm also 1/5 of India's first and only boy band, a band of boys. I've had a very fortunate career with them. 6 albums, a couple of serials on television right now. And I'm here in my capacity not as an artist, but as a technical artist, as the owner of the circuit. We are a 1,500 square feet facility in Andheri West, and we specialize and crusade in real-time virtual production using green screen chroma, and also produce podcasts for many of you guys over here. This topic can quickly become boring. So that it does not become boring, I want to understand what's the dipstick of the room. How many of you guys use AI beyond ChatGPT here? Please, a show of hands. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. How many of you guys use ChatGPT? Okay, tough room. All right. I'm going to try and make this as quick as possible, as fast as possible. I need to speak a lot faster than what I'm speaking right now for the only sake of the fact that I need to finish this much data in this shorter time. So bear with me if I'm going too fast. I want to leave some room for you guys to ask me questions. Can I have a huge round of applause to Podmasters 2025, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. Come on, energy in the room. Young creators, everyone is most what I'm assuming, right? Young creators. Please respond. Yes. This is back to school. Yes. No problem. So we're going to start with our website. We do AI agentic automation, ad films, AI films, chroma flows, podcast. This is an example of a podcast that we do at our studio where the gentleman on the left is in Chandigarh. The gentleman on the right is in Bangalore. It's stitched together live using Zoom Tele HD. We do a lot of virtual conferences, a lot of virtual concerts. Putting this together is not so difficult as it looks. We scaled exponentially during the pandemic because we had that surge demand for that nature of content, and we do all of these things. And today we're going to speak specifically about podcasts, which we facilitate for creators like yourself. And this is my team. Some of them are sitting here, some of them are behind that console. One person is behind there. And moving on, I would like to briefly go through the subtitles that we're going to be speaking today about. Okay, in this cheat sheet today of 30-minute session, we're going to first speak about the practical AI use causes across ideation, scripting, and virtual production. Needless to say, most of you guys use ChatGPT for scripting. I don't need to harp about that. So you guys do use ChatGPT for scripting, right? Yes? Okay, awesome sauce. If I was to use ChatGPT, this is an example of a theatrical play that I wanted to. You can manipulate ChatGPT to do what you want, okay? You can make a project folder, give it certain data, give it certain files, and ask it to behave in a certain way, like a creative director would. Basis that, the generic AI tools for podcasting that you're seeing are these rubbish applications, okay? You can use this as well as you want or as badly as you want. Moving on, I'm not going to speak about that. I'm just going to speak about one particular aspect of ChatGPT to help you understand how to script better. All right. So while I would use a synopsis, I would give it a prompt saying, make a synopsis for a hilarious, soulful theater where boy band, blah, blah, blah. Caveat being that there's an interactive theater where wristbands with choice answers to questions being fed on an app live by audience decides the end play, causing alternative ends like Enid Blyton's books. You guys know of this? Alternative endings? Alright, तो उस मामले में मैंने उसको ये बता दिया, तो उसने last reunion, heart sync, ये वो, gave it, and I asked it to ask a lot of flashback sequences with all 5 of them so that the choices are alternative ends. It gave a synopsis, it gave some flashback sequences, and it's pretty much reminiscent. So it did the research, figured out who Amanda Boyce is, and then it gave interactive twists, and then it gave alternative endings, and it also contributed to a tone. All right, and after that tone, I asked it to write the story, screenplay, and script of this with the band's name as a band of boys from Mumbai, and with the name of the members as Sharon, Chintu, Karan, Sudhanshu, and Danny. And then it titled one Band of Boys, the final note, and gave an entire script and story and screenplay, and gave this to me, ready reckoner, within 6 minutes. अच्छा, सबको मालूम है ये prospect. So I'm assuming most of you guys know how to do this, right? Yes or no, please? Thank you. Moving on. Now I'm coming to an aspect of how to use green screen BGs, which is the background, using AI, where we would use the power of ChatGPT, use the prompts from ChatGPT into Midjourney, cuff up the images, and then use Flora Fauna AI, which is an AI application, to give you certain mood boards. Cool? Respond, guys. I got this light in my eye, so I can't tell what's going on. I know this is a class and most of you guys already know this. Huge round of applause to Podmasters 25, please. That got you. Next. This is the prompt that I fed, and that's what came out from Midjourney. Next. This is how the room got developed, and this is the tone which the client liked. Next, this is how we interacted and showed how an LED screen would look in the backdrop. Then this particular image was fed into Flora Fauna AI, which is taking this base image that we created, and I asked it to create different styles of gothic, dark brooding style. And then we asked it to move other styles. I don't know if you guys can tell, it's a little, yeah. So, where I asked it to give LED screens and vertical screens so that I can put some content on that, it kind of mucked it up but made it cool. And then I also asked it to give it a certain tone where I asked to have a clear full image of the screens, and that's what it developed. So this is node-based AI where you can drag and drop into other nodes, and it gives you more flexibility. This is the 1:1 aspect ratio. It's a very simple tool where you can ask it to do something on text, video, or image form, and it cuffs up ready reckoners and examples. And sometimes when you don't give the right prompt, that's how it looks. Maro, this is where you'll do tali. Thank you. Next, this is an example of a mood board that we created for a motorcycle tire brand, luxury motorcycle tire brand, which wanted a podcast, and we cuffed up some images, like you all know how we do it. And then this is what we came up with, and that's what won us the job. Next, this is the neon tire-based room that we developed for them so that they can have a podcast like how you guys do. And then we moved on to this, and they were sold on this. Next. Now, we would like to explore how to use green screen BGs using AI, which is ChatGPT, Midjourney, what we did so far, and then going on to Topaz AI, and then showing you pixel cut. How many of you guys know Topaz AI? No? So Topaz AI is the world's best, at the moment, the world's best upscaler. All right? You see how an old image gets upscaled very soon, very quickly? All right, this is a fantastic tool. It does everything that you can do in terms of denoising, sharpening, adjust lighting, recover faces, preserve text, upscaling, balance color, blah, blah, blah. This is a great tool to have in case you have any imagery which is video or images, and you're not able to give it that particular quality that you want. If it's gone through any generation loss, you can pass it through Topaz AI, upscale it, make your client happy. All right, basically does what we call regeneration of pixels, and that's how you get the 3840 by 2160, which is 4K. Moving on, this is Pixel Cut. This is Photoshop on steroids. Very, very simple tool. This is a 3D image of mine. Notice I'm going to change the backdrop. This is called removing the alpha. And as soon as you remove the alpha, if I was to on ready reckoners, ask you to change color backgrounds, and also with a gradient. I mean, this is, can you imagine how fast this is compared to Photoshop? Instead of putting layers and stuff like that. If I was to also give it a text prompt saying hazy blue backdrop, then it would cuff up that whole backdrop because you don't have to go to ChatGPT bol raha hu. You don't have to go to Google, take an empty image, put it in the backdrop, put layers and then key it out and then make sure everything works. Then if you want to ask it to generate blue eyes using the retouch model, I asked it to make blue eyes and boom, Shankar, it gives you blue eyes. There we go. All right. Now, if I was to ask it to expand, before I expand, I will actually go back to what I was doing and come back to the original image. This is called an upscaler. When you want to expand this into, you have to make sure that the frame rate is locked. And if I want to make it 3840, which is 4K, I would basically be able to expand that frame with the imagery intact and kind of do what we call set extension. All right. So this is regenerative fill. Marutali. And if you want to do something more with that, you have to pay a lot of money. Right? All right, moving on. Green screen BGs using AI is what we discussed so far, where we use ChatGPT, Midjourney, Pixel Cut, Topaz AI. These are all tools which pass from one application to the other application to the other application to the other application and give you a certain result. Works for video, works for imagery, works for audio as well. Okay? We use a certain process at the circuit, which is our studio, where we have two handkerchief floors. One is a 250 square feet floor, literally the size of two of these tables. And the other one is a 16 by 16 by 10, which is meant for video work and other things. Most of our job happens in that tight room. And when I say a tight room, meaning you guys have done podcasts, so you all know this. The most important thing in a podcast is audio. Yeah? People will forgive poor video, but people will not forgive poor audio. Hark back to the Doordarshan days, जब वो मतलब video में static चलता था. Okay, as long as the audio is intact, you'd stay on the channel. You know, you would forgive the video to catch up. All right, you would forgive sync, you would forgive sync delay, you would forgive static, but you will not forgive poor audio. Keeping that in mind, all right, we propagate a certain kind of production in our studio, and I propagate that for one and one reason only: sustainability. When you go to a normal room like this, there is so much wastage in terms of the wood, in terms of the carpentry, in terms of the art direction, in terms of the greenhouse effects that one is coming into fruition or coming into execution because of the way we decided to make a look, feel, tone. That same thing in today's date is possible using AI. All right? I would like to show you a certain example. This is a very famous podcaster. Give a huge round of applause to him, please. Yeah, these are his rooms. And now I would like to show you an imagery which we have done from, we're using footage from one of our clients, which is Nidish Mehrotra, with whom I'm taking permission for. He is the chief media practitioner, law practitioner from A&M Global, who's my legal counsel. And we used his footage to kind of dummy this whole thing on and remove Alabadia's background, okay, and key it into our footage. So going on. Yeah, so that's Nidish. Okay, if you notice and appreciate, that's the same background. Marutali. Thank you. Next, we would like to go on to Joe Rogan. His life is based on my life. And this is his guest. I don't know who he is. Okay, and this is the same two guys from our room, which is Nidish and Anuj, doing their content on called A&M ThinkPod in that particular room. See what I mean? Maru, it's okay. It's cool. Is that cool or what? Thank you. All right, moving on to Liv Friedman. Okay. Lex Friedman, all right. Sorry, I'm not a podcaster. I produce podcasts, but I'm not a podcaster. Obviously interviewing Sundar Pichai. And notice the background and notice how this looks when it's done with the same footage in the room that we cuffed up. Yeah? Okay. Last but not the least, I don't know if it's last now. Oh, Nikhil Kamath, ladies and gentlemen, fantastic interview with the CEO of Netflix. All right. Now notice the background. This is a live background. When I say live background, there's like jhad pattiyan which is moving, and you notice our jhad pattiyas are also moving. Amazing. Okay. And now this is three lovely ladies. I don't know the names of them, but let's take a moment of silence to appreciate the fantastic work that they do. I really like their pop art background. And this is how our footage looks with that same background. Nidish is going to kill me. He's a lawyer. Thank God he's my lawyer. That's Nidish and Anuj, ladies and gentlemen. And now the beauty of this entire thing is that this is how it's shot. Do you know what I mean? Yeah? This is how it's shot and this is how it comes across. And we do this. इसका ऑडियो कहाँ है? फिर से प्ले करो.
Guest room we have Mr. Anuj Gupta, President of Delhi Soccer Association.
Well, thanks a lot, Nidish, for inviting me to your A&M ThinkPod podcast, which is
very cool because when we shoot it this way. It's a small, tight room, and the reason for the tight room is because there's treatment in that small room to ensure great audio fidelity. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, the reason for us to crusade in this direction from the organic brick and mortar, I'm not trying to propagate something. I'm not saying this is bad or this is good. What I'm only trying to understand from everybody here is that same green screen environment can give you this kind of depth. Okay, and when you do a brick and mortar room, you're doing constant hunt for new studios, locations for every look, inconsistent sound. When you have a large room, you have large reverberations. Then you have to do large cancellations, which causes bad audio. Then the recurring cost for location, setup, and travel. The same thing when you do it in a single green screen chroma room. It's a one-time setup cost. Perfectly sound treated becomes infinite locations because you invest in a reusable canvas for efficiency and sustainability. Now the entire thing here is sustainability. Greenhouse gases are a big thing. We like to believe that we are contributing less in destroying Mother Earth. Tali maro. Sorry, this is getting too old. Next, please. Well, if sustainability doesn't get you, cost should definitely get you. Everything in red is organic. Everything in green is virtual. Okay. How many of you guys have heard about NA10, please? Okay. NA10 is an automatic agentic platform which lets you put together all of these applications. All right. Before getting into NA10, I'm going to quickly dive into what is Magisto and Creatomate. Magisto is an online editor. Like how you have Premiere Pro, like how you have FCP, Resolve, okay, all of these applications which you use to edit. This is a very easy online application meant for short form content where you can literally drag everything that you want from your hard disk or your phone or your computer and then it use a template from whichever one you want. In this case, I think we were using desktop. We would use this desktop. It's a ready reckoner. And then you have a choice of uploading music, no music, upload your own music, you preview it. And then within a minute or 2 minutes, you're able to convert these 4-5 video pieces that you have on your phone into a ready thing. This is something that I did at Whistling Woods, similar to what I'm doing here right now. And look at how easy peasy it is. So all the short form content, especially shorts for YouTube and especially Instagram content, which you need to instantly produce, okay, is very easily be produced by this application called Magisto. Moving on to another application, which is an online application called Creatomate. Creatomate is template based again. When I say template based, meaning in Premiere Pro, you would have video 1, video 2, video 3, video 4, video 5, and you'd stitch all of it, you'd crop it, maybe overlay it, maybe kind of crossfade it. That same thing is possible here, but everything is online, which means you don't have to store that data on your device or on your phone. You can put it up on the cloud and base this template, which is right now, all the animation and properties that you have in any standard application, which is of an editor, is available. This is the dark mode of it. As you can see, when we play this, it's moving through composition 1 and then crossfading, which we have given it an arm to, and then going to composition 2. And it's also changing the text dynamically as you put it. The same text in the background will be seen here on the right-hand side. Okay? Which is, see that? Use the template editor. Now, whether you want to move it, you want to swivel it, you want to zoom it, you want to pinch roll it, is all a choice. Very quickly, you get results in this, and it's a fantastic application if you want to do same thing, which is basically online editing of content for short form content. Moving on. NA10 is an automatic agentic system that produces any result that you want and that you can think of. We have devised a thumbnail generator because this is a podcast room. So we'd like to show you how to generate a thumbnail The most expensive and the most reliable model right now in the world is called Pixel Cut, if I'm not mistaken, where you can put $1 and you can get like lots of thumbnails, what you want. We are basically showing you how to do that in N8N and how the system does it. This is what N8N looks like. Can you go back to the previous slide, please? I'd like to explain some things. The system is running on N8N. Its input method and output method is Telegram. It can be WhatsApp, it can be Gmail, it can be LinkedIn, any messaging body. We're choosing to do Telegram because that's the easiest. It stores data on Airtable. Do you know that? Any of you guys know about Airtable? Airtable is basically like Google Sheets, but on steroids. You can store lots of data in it, and you can ask it to do dynamic improvements, meaning आज अभी का number उसको approved है, तो approved के बाद उसको recreate करना है, उसको discard करना है. You understand? Which is not possible in Google Sheets. It's possible here. And we're using Google Drive to store the approved ones. Cool? And we're using OpenAI to think it all through, Gemini to debug it. Cool? Now we'll move on to this template. Pause this, please. Yeah. No, picture. This is how it looks. I need you guys to just focus. This is the input. This is a switcher. It decides basis. This is Telegram. If you notice the symbols that you see, these are all called nodes. This is a node-based workflow that we have devised to produce a thumbnail generation. The thumbnail generation will be given input on Telegram. It would be routed from this switch. Then it goes and asks for the platform. Platform मतलब आपको YouTube के लिए बनाना है, आपको Instagram के लिए बनाना है, कि आपको story के लिए बनाना है. Aspect ratio 16:9 है, कि 9:16 है, कि 1:1 है. वो सवाल का जवाब लेने के बाद उसको स्टोर करेगा Airtable पे, कि भैया पहला इनपुट का सवाल ये था और उसका जवाब ये है. उसके बाद वो पूछेगा आपको खुद का इमेज यूज करना है कि आपको जनरेट करना है AI बनके, AI के साथ. उसके बाद वो थंबनेल जनरेट करेगा. दिस इज OpenAI. ये सारा डेटा, ये 3 चीजों का डेटा वो लेगा, इसको बनाएगा एंड विल पास ऑन थ्रू दिस. दिस इज गूगल ड्राइव. दिस इज Airtable. This is Telegram. Every squiggly note that you see going out is output. Every squiggly note that you see coming in is input. All right, so now I like to play this. Yeah, so thumbnail generator is taking on the data. This is how my weapon of choice looks. You can design this the way you want. I just like design this to make it look like a gun. All right, and then when you execute this, it has now gone here and it has asked for that platform. It will ask whether it wants to be a use image or generative AI. It will generate that thumbnail, send it to Telegram, and then I will decide whether I want to approve it, whether I want to recreate it, or whether I want to discard it, or whether I want to delete all of this. Okay? Now, so now we're going to go to, and this is Airtable, and you see all these columns, name, execution ID, timestamp, image file, all of these are going to get populated on the request now, and it will store it in Google Drive like how we should. Now this is Telegram bot. Now this is where I'm going to ask it a thumbnail generation for podcast wars between rival podcasters. Cool? I'm trying to make it entertaining stuff, man. So much information. So much information. So it does the whole thing. This is the editor mode. We're going to move from the editor mode, we're going to move. Yeah, it asked me YouTube video, Instagram post, or Instagram story. I chose YouTube video. And then it said, how should we proceed? Generate with AI. Okay, generate with AI. It says working on your thumbnail. अब इसके execution mode में जाएंगे, तो ये 1, 2, 3 जो है, if you see 2307, ये कल रात को हम लोग ने किया था, June 20th को. It's done the first job. See the green ticks? That means it's gone through that flow, which means it asks for the platform. Then the next one above that, after that, okay, it's gone through use image or generative AI. Then the next one after that, which it's still doing because it's a long generation, all right, will take some time to execute. Meanwhile, I'll show you how it gets populated in the original request, which is podcast war between viable podcasts. It stored that data. It stored a record ID. It stored a chat ID. And then if you go and see, still doing it because it takes, and it went through an error, which happens quite often, but we can debug it. The conversion happened. We'll force it manually. And while we're forcing it manually, you'll get to see the wheels of this rotate. One more. Execute it. Yeah, see that? You see how that data flows from one to the other, to the other, to the other, to the other. There's a 100% chance that it will fail again. So it uses DALL-E 3 to produce an intense dramatic scene inside a high-tech podcast. You can imagine, I've just given it a prompt saying, rival podcast between two rival podcasts. So it is converting that URL into binary and it failed and we just force kick it manually. And as soon as we force kick it manually, it produces that data. And now I'm going to go to the end and force kick it and this whole tick mark is going to go all the way to the end. And immediately it's going to store it in Google Drive. And after it stores in Google Drive, you will see it's kind of generated that whole thing. Also, it's generated all the right imagery and populated all those columns with the data that we want. All right? And it's sent it back to Telegram and it's asking it. So it made the text, it made the photo. Okay, and it's asking me, do you want to approve it, recreate it, or discard? I choose to approve it. And as soon as I saw recreate it, and as soon as I recreate it, it again goes through another channel. Again, it fails because of one small issue, which can be manually kicked in. But if you see, the tick mark has gone through the thumbnail generator. And once again, we're going to do a recreate on that. Sorry. And we click on the latest, and then it's clicked the second one. So it's recreated, and the status on the first one is recreated and sends back to, and this is an improved version. Yeah? So it's made it epic battle, and I kind of like this, so I'll approve it. So when I approve it, it then goes into a running over there, which when you see the whole workflow, you'll see it has gone through the approve tick mark, the recreate mode, which is the previous one. And if you jump to the latest one, it's also sent me an approved, and you see the status over there has been done approved. So basically, you've got a system which on text prompt gives you an image, overlays it with text, pushes it onto Airtable to store the data, and the approved one goes on to Google Drive. Cool? Either tali maar sakte hain, it's a lot of work. Yeah? However, if I want to regenerate one more, okay, one more version of it, you could at any point of time take any of the tabs and recreate something that you want. And here once again, this has gone to a recreation. So in the general sense of the word, you would have an application with a very bubblegum interface which does this, okay? But this is for doing content at scale. Any application that is not on your local server and which is relying on cloud server, okay, will take a lot of your money, will take a lot of your time, and you will not get the results because you will not be able to doctor it. Whereas here, because you're using OpenAI, which you can ask it, I want you to be a creative director in the style of McCann. I want you to be a creative director in the style of a Greece architect. Do you understand how specialized it can become? I want you to do this for Ranveer Allabadia. I want the humor of Cyrus Brocha. I want Amit Doshi's patience. I want Mantra's coolness. I want May's voice. It created a last version that I like. It says Epic Showdown. And if I go and check if I approve it, it does an approval. And then it goes on and does a status update, which is huge. And then if I go and check on Google Drive, it would have updated 1, 2. And if I refresh Google Drive, the third one would have also come through. And so, that's the one. Yeah? So while I'm explaining this, I mean, these things can happen in the background. You know what I'm saying? Just cuff up something saying, podcast wars, rival podcaster, size 9:16, use generative AI. भूल जाओ. 3.5 मिनट के बाद आपको ये ऑप्शन मिलेगा. नहीं पसंद है, रिक्रिएट. पसंद, अप्रूव्ड. अप्रूव्ड वाला जो है बॉस को भेजो. है कि नहीं? You understand what I mean? Okay. So this is how applications which uses AI agentic automation systems help you do things at scale. Roshan sir, namaskar. Looking fab, sir. All right. This is how we can do things at scale, because what now as a single creator, okay, you're using a day to produce a thumbnail. You can produce 100 of it and then decide which one works for you. You also have the option of putting your own text. You also have the option of putting your own image and asking it to use that as a thumbnail. That's huge. to be able to key out the background, put all the relative zip-zaps that you want, put it in the southern direction of that thumbnail, make it 1 by 1, make it 9 by 16, make it 16 by 9, put one for Instagram, put one for Facebook, put one for Meta, put one for LinkedIn, put one for multi-channel networks. And when people want to do omni-channel, where you want to do multiple languages, where you want to do multiple styles perhaps, or multiple different anchors and actors, this is a decent way. Now, moving on, Maro Tali yaar, I'm used to a lot of appreciation in life, okay? And I know I'm trying to factor in a lot of things in a very short time. Excuse my okay, but I'm trying to do as quick and dry and quick as possible. This is the next level. I'm sure you guys have heard of HeyGen. HeyGen? No? You, sir, you have to raise hands to everything, sir. You're the epitome of podcast. Amit. HeyGen is a digital avatar creation. Basically, I can call Mantra to my studio, shoot with him for 30 minutes, and I have him for life. I'll have his voice cloned. I'll have his persona cloned. I will make sure that I use the right methods and get him to sign off, okay, morally, personality-wise, because there is a sign-up required. And then I will be able to repurpose that particular avatar to do real-time content production at scale. Meaning you just have to type text, what is the script, and it will automatically script out. So I'm going to use an example of a businesswoman.
You started the business to do
Wait. I'm going to show you an example of this lady called Surabhi Shenoy. Okay, she's a business coach based in Dubai. You can check her out on LinkedIn if you want. She is camera shy. She does not want to shoot. Okay, so her sole thing was take whatever time you want. I'll give you 1 day. Okay, and then I have produced content for the whole month for her. This is her driver audio and video which we recorded at the studio playing right now.
You started the business to do the work you love. You wanted to make an impact and feel fulfilled. But somewhere along the way, tasks that drain you crept in.
Yeah, so she's got this Marathi accent, Konkani Marathi accent. You started this business and she's got this mannerism. Okay, now notice how the next two generations are.
Hi, I am Surabhi. I am your course instructor. Over the last 20 years, I have built 2 multi-million-dollar ARR companies.
Yeah, so this is the first example that came out because the default is English, whereas she's not English. So there's an option inside HeyGen which makes it multilingual or use original accent. And you can speed down this, you can slow down the speed, you can increase the stability, and you can keep the exaggeration a little more, which makes it more mimic. It's just 3 sliders and see the difference in the output.
Hi, I am Surabhi. I am your course instructor. Over the last 20 years, I have built 2 multi-million-dollar ARR companies.
Notice how in the first time, hi, I'm Surabhi. So in the text, we have to write, hi, I'm Surabhi. So to get that Surabhi, I have to write Sura, which is S-U-R-A-A. B-H-E-E, Surabhi. Because that's how the LLM, which is trained upon the half an hour data that I gave her, retained it. So little modification like that, and you can have 30 minutes of content just spewing out immediately. Do you understand how powerful this is? Maro Tali for 11 Labs and HeyGen. Right? This is what Varun Maya does. Okay? For short form content, you should definitely try this out, because if you guys are trying to scale up, all right, if any of your podcasters are really trying to scale up, you would need to do a mix of short form content and long form content. Yes, if you're interviewing Satyam Nadella, please don't do any of HeyGen. Do an interview which is like in flesh and blood. But when you want to do stuff like this, which is like explainer videos, which is trending stuff, and you have an audience and you don't want to waste any time, you can basically ask ChatGPT to do the whole scripting and then use all the methods that we've done, whichever you feel is good, okay? And then use HeyGen and then produce this output and push it out automatically using NA10 on social media. Next is another tool called 11 Labs, which is a voice cloning tool. And we have a lot of static voices in there, and then we can train your own voice. And we also try to train Cyrus Brocha. Unfortunately, it is not sounding as cool as he is. But we decided to use a yesteryear artist called Kishore Kumar, the great legendary Kishore Kumar. So there's very little interview data of his because I had to train his voice using that little data that I have. And I asked it to ChatGPT to give me a 30-second script of a rant by a yesteryear singer called Kishore Kumar dissing today's podcasters. Key points would be about how during his days it was all, and I left it blank. And I left it blank for the reason because I wanted it to give its own script. And it did, keeping in mind today's time. And then I put that whole thing over here and I asked it to generate. And after I generate, it will sound like him, but most of you guys don't know how he sounds because you'll have never heard him talk much. Next, please.
अरे भाई हमारे जमाने में you had to sing from the soul, not speak into some fancy mic about your feelings. We had sur, tal, rag, mehfil. Now it's just welcome to my podcast, guys. Wow, wow. No riyaz, no mehsoos, just reverb and rambling. We broke hearts with melodies. They break eardrums with monologues. I needed a harmonium and heartbreak. They need Wi-Fi and a self-esteem issue. अरे बाप रे, आप लोगों को ये कंटेंट लगता है? ये तो कंटेंट का कॉन्डम है. Safe, filtered and completely emotionless.
Who says AI can't be creative? All right. Of course, it's taking the best minds of the world, putting it all together and giving you the best possible screenplay. But AI is still a tool. Who writes it, who drives it, who prompts it is what makes a difference. In a year from now, all of us are going to have subliminally be using as many AI tools as possible, which you already are. All right. I hope I'm able to dive some sense into you guys to kind of, give this output. Thank you. Quickly moving on to the next phase of this. This is what we shine at the studio. This is called virtual production. This is a domain where you're able to where you're able to produce 3D environments, which could be a podcaster's room in this case. It could be a valley, it could be an office, it could be a building. This is what cinema is built on. Virtual production has its many advantages. There are two types, LED virtual production and green screen virtual production. Basically, BG removal using live 3D environments. Cool? Understood? All right, moving on. This is the advantage of it. You see how minimalistic lighting and minimalistic actual shoot paraphernalia is involved, and see the output on the monitor. The car, that whole room is all digital. Imagine shooting in a room like this, it will cost you quite a bit. All right, but what you're able to do in a 16 by 16 by 10 floor is the advantage of using virtual production. All the tools for seamless background removal exist in that, and real-time changes to branding, to content on virtual screens, colors and objects with a little. So we've had many clients come to us and say, हमारा CYM के ये लो, हमारा RGB color ये लो, और हमको exactly which. We've done that for Amazon, we've done that for Blue Star, we've done that for, and it's really possible to immediately in front of the client dial out the color that you want, make the composition look fantastic, make the DOP sign off in it, make the creative director sign off on it, make the art director sign off on it, and everybody who's important in choosing that decision about how their frame is going to look while shooting, which used to happen in the earlier times in a post मेथड आप शूट करके ले जाते थे ब्लाइंड और उसको जाके बाद में फिर डायरेक्टर बोलता है ये क्या शूट करके लेके आया सो दैट मोड इज नॉट एग्जिस्टेंट एनीमोर दीज आर अदर एग्जांपल्स दैट वी हैव डन डिड यू प्ले दिस ओके सो दीज आर लाइव कीइंग दैट यू आर सीइंग ओके दिस इज व्हाट यू आर सीइंग इज exactly the way that you're shooting. I like to point out to the one in the third, those are my assistants at the floor. This is real-time virtual production using a tracker, where they are in a London Sotheby kind of a room. And the advantage is that I can send this output on a browser to somebody in Delhi while we are shooting in Bombay. That's huge. To be able to, that's really huge, okay? To be able to have a creative director in Bandra, a creative director in South Delhi, and another art director somewhere else, and be able to wet off and sign off on a shoot that's happening in Bombay, and everybody be okay with that. That's terrific, all right? Virtual production, everyone. Thank you. Moving on, we're now going to explore motion capture, which is basically you use an application on the phone. In this case, the phone. You can use any particular application. You guys must have seen people do this, yeah? This is a phone application which if I tap, it catches my facial expressions. If I move this onto you, it will catch your expression. Get it? So this is code Miko, okay? This is a YouTuber, VTuber as we call it. She does what we call, slow karu, band karu. Almost done. Okay, this is called a monopod, okay, where we kind of take single artists and then they kind of do VTuber. She also won last year's VTuber Awards in 2022. And can we move to the next slide? Yeah, if you see that, she's wearing a device which basically mimics her body movements and then passes on to a meta-human. Yeah, and anything she does at the face gets immediately transferred onto that meta-human, and then that can be done live. Yeah, and then that can be pushed onto a live stream, and that can have interaction. Quickly, I'm going to jump to the next one. Okay, this is how we have. This is my own meta-human. I'm trying to show you how, just with a phone, you can get this kind of an expression onto a mannequin or a digital double. Now, this is a music video example. You can easily mimic this onto a live stream or a podcast for that matter, and design it the way you want. VTubing, ladies and gentlemen. This is the last thing that I'm going to show, which is using an application called Convey AI, which is conversational AI, where I feed it a knowledge bank and I tell it, I am Sharon Varghese and this is my assistant. So figure out details about Sharon Varghese, and if I ask you any question, you need to be able to respond, and that's what it's doing right now. Audio, please.
And musician Sharon Varghese. My role is to support Sharon in various aspects of his
So I
career,
asked it a
including
question.
technology,
Who
event
are you?
planning, and music
That's the
production.
response.
I bring my expertise in virtual reality, augmented reality, Unreal Engine, event technology, programming, multimedia arts, and emerging technologies to enhance Sharon's performances and create unforgettable experiences for audiences worldwide.
Thank you.
How can I
That's
assist you
Convey AI, ladies and gentlemen. This is a very advanced tool. We are the circuit, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Sharon Varghese. Thank you for your time. I think I went 5 minutes over time, and I really tried to crush in as much information as possible. I don't know how else I could have done it better. I finished this last night at 4:33. I thank all the stellar talents in this room. God bless you all. And may the best win. God bless you. Cheers.
Super session. Can we felicitate the wonderful Sharon Varghese
Thank you, sir.
from the circuit? Thanks, mate.
Thank you.
Eye opener.
Boom. Thank you.
All right. For those of you who've made your way in the midst of that session, thank you for being at Podmasters 2025, presented by Kia.